What's going on, everybody? Welcome back to another episode of Hungry. As always, I'm your host, Zach Cronin, and today we're going to be talking about the Orlando Magic, who are currently experiencing some backlash for their $50,000 contribution to Ron DeSanctimonious's Super PAC. This donation was made back in June, and it's publicly available on Open Secrets, as well as Judd Legum, who's doing some phenomenal reporting on this situation. So I will link to both of those in the description. But the reason for the outrage is very simple. Ron DeSantis is a psycho. DeSantis, who is currently the governor of Florida and the failing presidential candidate for the Republican Party, is openly anti LGBTQ, is banning books, sending through copious amounts of anti trans, anti gay legislation. Most recently, he made comments about how slavery was actually beneficial to black people because they Jesus, it's so fucking weird that he said this because they learned skills that they would not have otherwise been capable of learning. And this guy endorsing him, supporting him, whatever, is completely antithetical to what the NBA stands for and also what the Orlando Magic seemingly stand for. When it comes to social issues, the NBA is a very progressive organization. The Orlando Magic are also a very progressive organization, or at least posture as that, as they hosted a Pride Night back in March, which was supposed to celebrate diversity and promote inclusivity. One strange aspect about this donation is that it was made in the name of the Orlando Magic. It wasn't made in the names of any of the DeVos family, who is the family that owns the organization, nor was it made under RVD Sports Inc., which is the company that was created in order to purchase the Orlando Magic. No, the donation slip says the Orlando Magic. This is strange because very rarely, if ever, do sports teams come out and endorse any political candidate, Republican or Democrat, and let alone make a donation to one of these candidates. By doing so, by aligning yourself with any particular political candidate, it is seen as an endorsement. And sports teams want to make themselves as apolitical as possible. Even though there is no escape from politics, sports is the one area where people feel like they can escape it. And the teams want to keep up that guise for as long as possible. And again, aligning yourself with any one political character is seen as an endorsement and it as seen as picking sides. And the organizations feel that doing so will alienate one half of your fan base. What is significantly more common is someone within the organization making political donations, whether that be the CEO, whether that be someone who's a chairperson. We'll use James Dolan for an example. This guy has given tens of thousands of dollars to politicians on both ends of the political spectrum, but he always does it under his name. It's not James Dolan contributing money on behalf of the Knicks. It's not him contributing money on behalf of the Rangers. It's not even him contributing money on behalf of Madison Square Garden. It is James Dolan giving money to Lee Zeldin, or it is James Dolan giving money to Kathy Hochul as himself, as James Dolan. I don't believe that Orlando came to this consensus because Ennis Freedom or Jonathan Isaac stormed into the boardroom and started shaking the chair people until they finally gave in and coughed up 50 grand. I think it's much more likely that there are peoples in upper levels of the organization who just like Ron DeSantis. They like his policies, they like his vibes, and they like him because he's just as bad as Donald Trump in terms of policy, but his perception isn't as damaged. Like a lot of the more establishment Republicans don't like Trump because he's bringing all of this extra attention to a political party that wants to keep their agenda more or less hidden, like their actual agenda. And DeSantis does that. He is the establishment Republican candidate. I also know that wealthy people love giving their money away to political candidates, whether they're Republicans or Democrats. Ultimately, a lot of these people give money to both sides of the political spectrum because it doesn't matter who they give money to. Ultimately, the wealthy donors are the ones who dictate the policy. And whether you give to a Republican or a Democratic candidate, they're more often than not going to operate at the behest of the 1%. However, the DeVos family has direct and public connections to the Republican Party. Back in 1991, Richard DeVos acquired the Orlando Magic. Now, he had previously served as the finance chairman for the RNC and was also appointed to former President Ronald Reagan's Commission on the HIV epidemic. By the way, old Richie boy here once claimed that people suffering from AIDS were looking for quote unquote special treatment. There is, of course, Betsy DeVos as well, who was former President Donald Trump's Secretary of Education. And she was basically just as psychotic as Richard. She was trying to undermine public schooling in every way, trying to redirect funds from public schooling, just in overall disastrous Secretary of Education. By the way, this is entirely unrelated, and I didn't know this until I was trying to find all of Betsy DeVos's greatest hits. But her younger brother is the founder and former CEO of Blackwater, which is a private military contracting group, more or less a band of mercenaries who just go around the world and do insidious shit. Another fun fact is that her younger brother, Eric Prince, is his name. His wife died of cancer, I think, in 2003. And while his wife was dying of cancer, he went and had an affair with the nanny of his children. So again, just think of like the level of people that we're dealing with here. Before I close this video out, I want to touch on the spectacular failure that was the Orlando Magic's statement on this whole situation. This is their chief communications officer saying, quote, "To clarify, this gift was given before Governor DeSantis entered the presidential race. It was given as a Florida business in support of a Florida governor for the continued prosperity of Central Florida." This is a lie. This guy is just he's straight up lying. He or this money, I don't want to say he as like he was the one who personally gave this money, but these funds were given to the super PAC that Governor DeSantis created with the explicit reason of helping with his presidential campaign. Again, just a nuclear failure by Orlando on pretty much every front. They have now, in literally one day, basically alienated a subsect of their fan base, claiming that this was in support of the Florida governor who just had those insane statements on slavery when the Magic's roster is majority black. They have a black head coach. They have a black GM. I'm actually plagiarizing Larry Nance's tweet. Actually, he was the one who came out and said this, that the Magic are showing their support for Ron DeSantis despite having a majority of black people on their roster. Like it's just absolute insanity. This is really is newfound territory for a sports team to publicly align themselves with a political figure. And it's only fitting that this is coming from a team based in Florida because this is Florida person behavior. This is, again, just a huge miss by the Orlando Magic. These people are entitled to their political leanings, are entitled to their political opinions. I'm just flabbergasted by the level of stupidity that is exhibited here. Again, aligning yourselves with a political figure, and again, like an inflammatory political figure at that. I really don't think that the organization, the people who gave this donation, I really don't think they care at all. But again, just a very gross, really dumb behavior from the organization on this one. And I think with that, I'm going to go ahead and close this video out. Thank you guys so very much for coming to hang out with me today. As always, everything I'm associated with is down in the description box below. Twitter, Instagram, TikTok. Subscribe to the channel. Leave a like on this video if you enjoyed it. Leave a comment as well. It really helps out with the algorithm. And with that, I'll catch y'all in the next one.